And we are live.
Good morning, everyone. It's the one, the only V, the Gorilla Economist, coming to you live on another edition of Rogue Money Mornings with me and my compatriot CJ, where we break down the news, the views, and all the information that's important to you. Check us out on roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Check us out on Facebook, Rogue Money, as well as every single podcasting app known to mankind. Also, check out our sponsors, myfreedomnow.us, myfreedomnow.us. The market is on a tear. Do you need money for investments? Do you need to buy a new home, pay off an old mortgage? I don't know, get yourselves out of debt somehow. Whatever the case is, My Freedom Now can help you. Fix your credit, get out of debt, or get up to $600,000 unsecured from their network of 335 lenders. And also check out mygoldusb.com. Mygoldusb.com. Folks, all you got to do is you want to escape deep state surveillance, then shut off your computer, slap in the gold USB, turn your computer back on while hitting that F2 button or whatever it is to get into the boot menu, and then boot directly from the gold USB, and voila! You are now surfing anonymously using 1024-bit military-grade encryption. You can secure your messaging, your email, your web browser, as well as your Bitcoin wallet all on one device. mygoldusb.com. With that being said, CJ, what is going on, my friend? CJ? CJ's on mute. Boop, 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 boop. CJ, are you there? Bum, bum, bum,
I
bum, bum.
tell it's been a long time, V. Uh, I tell you what is going on, V. For the first time in
I
a
think what's
long
going
time,
on is that you're sipping a Mai Tai while you're talking to me, and I'm so jelly of you right now. I'm so jelly. Go ahead.
we have an actual arrest, V. Can you believe it? Finally,
Yeah, I know, man. A major arrest, to say the least, bro. A major, major arrest. Now, folks, if you haven't been paying attention, let me break this down for you. This goes back a long ways, and nobody else is making the connection here. I spoke about this months and months and months and months ago. And I'm surprised nobody else has caught on to this, or no one has ever even mentioned this. Now, if you have been living under a rock, I will tell you that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, the insane and the membrane head chair of the DNC, her crony staffer, okay, who is, for all intents and purposes, I would go out and say probably somebody who works in intelligence in some sort of capacity. This gentleman was arrested. Okay, he was arrested. You probably heard all the stories of, they found broken hard drives, thousands of broken hard drives, expensive wireless routers, this, that, and the other. This guy was getting paid ridiculous amounts of money to the tune of $5 million. And you'd probably hear the fact that there was crazy nepotism in the sense that he had his brothers as well as his wife work for DNC staffers, work for DNC, I'm sorry, work for congressmen in the DNC, okay, congressmen and women. Now, this is huge, 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 huge news, okay? I'm going to break it down for you guys real quick. Number one, this guy named Imran Awan was arrested at Dulles Airport, okay, where they grabbed him, which is great. The fact that he's been nabbed by both the FBI, the fact that the original investigation happened when this guy was trying to skip town, he rented out his house to a Marine. A Marine and his wife went into the garage and saw thousands upon thousands of broken hard drives, expensive computer equipment. They're like, this is really weird and suspicious. They called NCIS, okay, especially with the strange behavior of their quote unquote landlord. Especially the fact that the landlord wanted payments in cash or checks sent or money orders sent to somebody else's name. Very, very fishy, to say the least. So the Marine called NCIS to come and have a look. NCIS goes and does their investigation. They're like, yo, this is some pretty serious stuff here. There's something to be said about all these hard drives. They call the FBI. FBI shows up, and before they do, they put out a little APB out there to their law enforcement cohorts, and sure enough, bing, Mr. Imran's name, Mr. Awan's name pops up with the Capitol Police. Now, the Capitol Police has been investigating Imran for quite some time, building a case. Now, you guys will probably remember it was a few weeks ago that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz threatened to cut off budget funding for the Capitol Police, especially since that the Capitol Police has taken a laptop belonging to Imran Awan, and Wasserman-Schultz, who pooped herself in her Depends, was threatening to have it to get it back. Otherwise, she's gonna do something to cut the budgets. Okay, crazy stuff. So Capitol Police shows up with the FBI at this Marine's house. The Marine's house where Imran has left all these hard drives. Okay, NCIS is already there. So now you got 3 law enforcement agencies involved, and sure as crap, they did some more digging and they realized, oh my God, this guy's sitting on a treasure trove of data. And it gets worse that Mr. Imran was not only paid over $5 million, okay, to do this, that also his previous job, CJ, before he even took office at this staffing facility, doing this quote unquote IT business, right? His previous job was working at McDonald's, flipping burgers. Okay, who is Imran? Is the question. Who is this guy? Why was he paid over $5 million? Why was that this guy was not cleared at all? Okay. Why was he given access to top secret information? Him and his quote unquote brothers. Okay. Why was it that this guy, CJ, had all this access and he spent most of his time not even in this country but in Pakistan? Why is it that IT meetings, that they would have weekly IT meetings where real staffers, real IT people, who work for 60, 70, $80,000 a year, maybe 90 grand on the high end, maybe, right? These guys are like, I've never even seen Imran Awan on any of the meetings that we would have. Why is it, CJ, that a person like this, who spends most of his time overseas, is in charge of quote-unquote IT, when there's no evidence of him or any one of his cohorts engaging in quote-unquote IT? But here's what we have discovered, okay? This guy had a remote server off-site somewhere through which all the emails were funneled through. This guy had access to over 30, count them, CJ, 30 Democrat congressmen and women's emails. He had access to Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's iPad, to which he had the password to. This is the iPad that she uses to conduct business with. Okay, this is huge news. Now, it is also known these guys were given access to data that was coming or deemed top secret from the Senate and Congressional Intelligence Committee. Huge news. Now, why did I say it's huge news, and why did I say in the beginning of this broadcast that I reported on this months ago, and no one else is talking about this? Well, I'll tell you why. Let us reverse. Let's go all the way back. Let's rewind all the way back till January, the 20 some odd, whatever the day it was, after Donald Trump took office, had the inauguration, took office. What happened? You all remember that strike in Yemen, right, CJ? You remember that?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. We all remember how all of a sudden the SEALs were descending upon an Al Qaeda hangout in Yemen, and then all of a sudden the SEALs were like, wait a minute, it was as if they knew we were coming. They were prepared. They fought back valiantly, and one SEAL died. It was a botched operation. It made Trump look bad. And that was the beginning of quote unquote the leaks. Well, let me tell you what this is all about. Those leaks, my friend, at that time when that operation was launched, 3 Pakistani brothers, okay, 3 Pakistani brothers were in charge of IT for certain staffers who had access to the Intelligence Services Committee. Okay. Now, is it coincidence? If these guys who have access to this information, who spend more time in Pakistan, who are getting paid millions of dollars, who are basically, for all sense of the word, could be operating under the influence of a foreign entity. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. These guys are more than shady shysters. Shady shysterism is what they do on the side. But I think these guys have the hallmarks of intelligence services. I think these guys are CJ, and I'm not saying this because they have Islamic names here. I think these guys are dirty. I think these guys have connections not only with the CIA but also ISI and the deep state. That's the Pakistani intelligence services. I think these guys probably even have terror ties to Al Qaeda. Okay, it is not a coincidence that this Yemen operation was blown wide open, that it was leaked at the same time that these three brothers, Imran Awan and his two other brothers, were working for Democratic staffers who had access to the same intel, the same operation, and that it was leaked, which caused the life of a Navy SEAL and a botched operation, which was terrible. That is something that nobody's talking about. The other aspect of this thing, CJ, is this guy, okay, why was he and his wife, who made over $1 million, why was his wife not stopped at the airport? She left the country with cardboard boxes filled with stuff, with multiple suitcases filled with stuff, with over $12,000 in cash, and she was allowed to board the plane and leave. CJ, what would happen if you and I were to fly out with, let's say, $10,000, CJ, in cash? What would happen, CJ?
Good luck with that. We'd be seized and detained, and shakedown would start occurring. V.
Right, absolutely, brother, absolutely. Now, you and I worked in banking. We know how that works. Try to cross an airport with 10 grand on you, it's not going to happen, right? But this woman was given a free pass. Who gave her the clearance after her being detained, okay, by the Department of Homeland Security? Okay, after being detained, she was able to give clearance to get on a flight and leave. Okay, this is a woman who was paid over $1 million. $1 million. Her name is Hina Alvi. She was paid $1 million working for House Democrats. Okay, unbelievable. Who are these guys? The fact they have an offsite server, the fact that they, as soon as the heat was on, they were breaking hard drives. Unfortunately, these idiots for them. Unfortunately for them, these guys didn't use BleachBit like Hillary. Now, this guy Imran got pinched. He got pinched in Dulles Airport, CJ, trying to leave the country, and now it's starting to come out. And his connections not only run with Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, but also the Clintons and the Obamas. How do you like them apples, bro?
That's sweet. That's a great breakdown, great analysis of the, 1,000% the tie-in and that led to the botched, mission. And it wasn't even botched. It's just that the information was leaked. What's also interesting, V, is when you take a look at these 30 Democratic representatives,
Yep.
and then, like what you stated, you narrowed it down to the House Select Intel Committee, that those individuals also sent letters requesting. So that is one angle. Another aspect, too, is that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz insisting on 30 Democratic representatives coming on board and utilizing them for their IT services. Was this a Ponzi pay-to-play scheme where they were promising campaign money, funneling into these? Was it that they were being blackmailed for certain information? Or was it just exactly what you just stated, that they were working two ends of it, that they were promising campaign money funneling into these Democrats, but then also on the flip side, they were actually selling the information to ISIS, to other third parties involved. So this is huge. This is going to take a little while to get through. And V,
Right.
You know what the amazing thing to me is, V?
What's up?
I spent about probably 20 minutes this morning just, going into all the different news agencies, CNN, Fox, whoever, is that there's an attempt information down. This is not being shared across any MSN platform that I've reviewed right now. There's an attempt by the deep state to shut this information down regarding this arrest, V.
He's a dead man, bro. I mean, he was released. It is ordered to surrender his passports and wear a GPS monitor and observe a curfew. He's ordered to appear in court for a hearing on August 21st. Okay. If I'm a betting man, this guy's not going to make it to August 21st if he's walking around. They're going to Barry Seal this guy.
Right. And according to the story, what the MSM may tell you, and this is being reported by Zero Hedge, the story that the narrative that they may tell you is why he was arrested was that he was actually holding his stepmother hostage in Pakistan, because of, their real father was passing away and was dying, and they were, not allowing her to see him, and this narrative that, they wanted money that was supposedly stashed away in a life insurance policy. That is bogus. I mean, that is just completely just a smokescreen for the criminality, for the investigation, what has to be going on behind the scenes, V.
Yeah, they're going to try to make it look like these guys are just a bunch of financial fraudsters. Financial fraudsters have no use for an offsite server. Okay, number one. What financial fraud are they trying to worry about when these guys have cleaned the DNC out of $5 million? Okay, $5 million in Pakistan, that's a lot of kebabs, bro. That's a lot of kebabs.
Boom. That's a lot of money for any, I have friends that are in IT that own their own IT companies, and that money that they were paid is more than sometimes what they yield in an entire year for numerous companies that they do services for.
Correct. Exactly correct. Exactly correct. What financial fraud? Yeah, sure. They had like multiple mortgages out on multiple properties, and they were trying to scam some stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure they were doing that. But why set up the offsite server? Don't make these guys right now somewhere. There's 30 Democrats and Hillary Clinton that are hobbled up in a corner somewhere, crapping their pants. They literally woke up this morning and shit the bed. Okay, they are pooping themselves, right? Because of what is going on and what is happening. This is huge news. And if they try to spin it like, oh, these are just some financial hucksters, which is what they're trying to do, no, this is more than financial hucking. This is hacking. This is getting information. This is 30 Democrats who are now responsible for the misuse and careless misuse of classified information. These people are on the hook for that. Wasserman-Schultz was a corrupt criminal who needs to be thrown in jail. Okay, needs to be thrown in jail for a very long time. She needs to go. Let's see how this plays out. But if I'm a betting man, this guy Awan, okay, dirty as he comes, Awan has been released on bail. Like, why would anybody even release this guy on bail? CJ, it's beyond me. Okay,
right.
Why would even release this guy on bail? Okay, who gave the order to release him? Allow him to go for here, wear a GPS monitor, and give him an August 21st date? He's gonna wind up dead. They're gonna make it look like a suicide. Oh, he cracked under the pressure and he decided to kill himself. No, this guy needs to be under FBI protected custody until his court hearing. And he was. So who the hell ordered this guy released? They're going to suicide this guy, bro. I'm telling you. They're going to kill this guy. I have no doubt about it, Siege.
Without a doubt, V.
Unreal, man. Unreal. Anyway, on to other news. Causing the EU to integrate into the Eurasian Economic Union and the One Belt, One Road initiative. The genius retards in the USA, CJ. I mean, did you hear about this, man?
Yeah, I mean, this very well could be the nail in the coffin that turns the U.S. into more of a third world type country, V.
Yep, absolutely, man. House overwhelmingly passes veto-proof Russia sanctions deal. Okay, this is the House. Setting up a showdown not between the U.S. and Russia as some sort of some hope, but between Washington and the EU, which has emerged as the most vocal opponent of ongoing unilateral anti-Russian escalation by the U.S., vowing swift retaliation. Moments ago, the U.S. House passed bipartisan legislation codifying and imposing further sanctions on Russia, Iran, and North Korea, and preventing the president from acting unilaterally to remove certain sanctions on Russia. Just 3 Republicans, Justin Amish, Jimmy Duncan, and Thomas Massey, voted against the bill, which passed 419 to 3. Crazy. More importantly, the measure also bars U.S. companies from investing in energy projects in which Russian companies have at least a 33% stake. It may penalize European companies that collaborate with Russian companies on energy projects. The source of this is the stupidity. Okay? These Russian sanctions don't hurt Russia, you dumb idiots in D.C. who have your heads firmly shoved up your rear ends. It doesn't. These sanctions simply hurt your European partners. So now the European partners are like, wait a minute, you empire of chaos nitwits, you deep state delinquents, you morons. These sanctions have done nothing but eviscerate and put pressure upon not only European economies, but European industries. That's who this is hurting. And the choice that the U.S. is giving by putting Europe's gonads in a vice is this. Switch to more expensive American liquid natural gas and don't use Russian, otherwise it's going to be more painful for you. And the Europeans are like, wait a minute, why do we want to switch to your gas, which is way more expensive than the fair, very cheap Russian gas that's been flowing into our continent for several decades right now? Why would we want to change this? We went along with your idiotic plans before, and it's backfired. It's backfired in a way that you've turned the Ukraine into a failed state. We went along with your idiotic plans before and has turned Syria into a quagmire. You see, the deep state can't win in Syria. The deep state had its ass kicked in Syria. The deep state had egg on its face and it exploded on their faces in the Ukraine. So the only thing the deep state can do is take these brain-dead senators and congressmen who have no freaking idea of what their elbow is from their rear end, who are nothing but a bunch of career lawyers, they're all a bunch of lawyers, and have these guys politically hit the Russians with sanctions. Think about that for a second. Sanctions. This is all they can do. Sanctions that do not hurt Russia. Sanctions that hurt their own European partners. This is the equivalent of cutting their nose to spite their face, CJ. This is the equivalent. I mean, this is madness.
It is madness.
They're literally telling the Europeans, go and be part of the new Silk Road. Let's speed it up. Let us grease the pathway for you guys.
Look, their attempt is this, that if Trump isn't willing to bring war against Russia, which nobody wants, then Congress is sure in the hell going to try to, right? So, and exactly what you stated, Bill, in regards to this new sanctions, this bill that's being passed, is that this also handicaps Trump's ability to reduce or even cancel the sanctions that were passed under the Obama era.
Yep.
Much attempt to disrupt, to handicap this administration from forging ahead solid relationships with Russia, with China. And now we're disrupting relationships with our European Union members, Germany, France. I mean, we're already witnessing a huge pivot already with Macron.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the nail in the coffin, V. This is just completely exactly why we do not need these elected officials, harming average Americans. I mean, look at our trade deficits already. Do they not see our quarterly trade deficits in the millions,
billions?
This is just completely just absurd, V. And for them to try to pass this bill, and again, I believe it still has to go to the Senate. But if you take a look at this, it just what they're trying to do to President Trump to keep him from building a relationship with Russia just is just madness. It
is madness. And who in the hell in the Senate is going to stop it? It's going to pass unanimously in the Senate, right? Because anybody that votes against is going to be seen as anti. You're unpatriotic if you vote against this bill. Well, are you in bed with Russia? Are you working for Putin? Right? I mean, I want you to think about this. This do-nothing Congress, these freaking assholes, these worthless pieces of shit that in 2018, you folks need to vote out of office. Okay? These congressmen that need to go, these congressmen and senators who couldn't pass what? They couldn't pass a tax reform bill, right? They couldn't pass tax cuts. They couldn't repeal Obamacare. They couldn't do anything. But right before their stupid little vacation starts in August, a little August resets, because these a-holes, these dingbats, okay, God forbid they work more than, more than 100 days a year. 214 days out of the year, these guys are on vacation. So these assholes, right before their August break, they are making this anti-Russian sanctions package. This will be their biggest legislative accomplishment to date. That's it. Not tax breaks, not tax courts, not healthcare, but a Russian. Screw the Europe. F the Russians. Here's the bill. We're putting that sanctions through. You assholes. May you all be fired. I pray for term limits. I pray that your genitals fall off while you guys are all on vacation. May most of you drop dead. You evil sycophants. You sick bastards and paramours.
Yeah, and breaking as of early this morning, already reports coming out that Moscow and the EU are threatening, retaliation for the passing of this bill. And they put out the warning. We covered it yesterday. The warning that the EU, sent out, warning about these actions.
You know what the deep state's doing here, CJ? This is what they're doing. They realize they failed in their quest for New World Order. They realize they failed in their global government circle jerk that they've been doing. Their architects have been exposed as idiots. Their patriarchs are long dead at this point. And now they realize the abject failure of their entire mission. So now they're saying to themselves, they're going for a scorched earth policy. They're going to basically capsize the ship. All right? This move, unless it's counter-moved by the Trump administration in a very, very aggressive way, this move is going to isolate the United States from the world stage. And remember that I spoke very prophetically in 2014 and 15. I said, the two oceans that separated us, that once provided a hegemon of protection for us during World War I and World War II, these two oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific, will be the moats of our isolation. And if you guys think about it for a second, what the deep state is doing right now is, since they screwed up so royally, they're going to implode the United States. This is going to lead to our isolation. This is going to lead to much faster de-dollarizing. This is giving the Europeans an initiative to be part of the double eagle payment system, to be part of the CIPS, China Interpayment Systems, to be part of the Eurasian Trade Zone or the Eurasian Economic Union, to be part of the New Silk Road. That is where the money is. The Europeans are now going to swing that way. Merkel would probably object here and there, but even Merkel's coming out strong against this.
Absolutely.
This is a shift. We have allowed the Europeans, the deep state has allowed the Europeans, the Russians, the Chinese, and the rest of the world to integrate into an economically fruitful world order. And we have isolated ourselves. It's unbelievable. The most stupidest, idiotic move I've ever seen. When the history books are written, CJ, this is the moment. This is the moment, unless something aggressive is done by Donald Trump to stop this nonsense. unless something's done. And we can't sit here and expect him to do it all. We got to get these guys out of office. He needs our help. We need to rally around our president. We need to rally around the ideals that we voted him in office for. He is trying to do his freaking job. We need to help him. We need to help him. 2018 midterm elections are coming. Vote these guys out of office. Vote them all out of office. They need to go. And like what Conor McGregor says in reference to Floyd Mayweather, something old has got to go. That's it, CJ.
Bingo. That's
pretty
it.
Much the two major stories of the day. I was going to talk about the Gorilla's future baby mama, which is Tulsi Gabbard, and her exposure of the CIA. I was going to talk about the onwards and upwards of the market, as the market has hit over 21,000 points. Dow 21,000, Dow 30,000. Here we come. With that being said, we are over and out. Again, check out our sponsors, myfreedomnow.us, mygoldusb.com, and most importantly, roguemoney.net. We got some exciting news coming for you guys next week. That being said, take it away, CJ.